Hey guys, we're 60 days out from our spring family Disney trip. So that means it's time to figure out where we're eating. All right, so I told you guys I was going to do a more in-depth video about ADR or advanced dining reservations for Disney World. And that's what this is. So, in case you're not familiar with the process, I'm going to walk through it a little bit, talk about my experiences with it. I have planned 7 trips to Disney World at this point, as well as helping a few of my friends plan their trips. So, I know a little bit about it. I think I have a pretty good grasp on it. One of the most magical parts about Disney World is that there are so many really good places to eat. Disney World has everything from your kind of typical theme park affair of like chicken fingers and french fries and pretzels and popcorn to really elevated dining spaces, and bars and really good drinks and good atmospheric places. They have character dining where you can go to a restaurant and eat and your favorite characters are walking around and stopping by to say hello. So figuring out where we're eating is kind of half the battle for me when planning a Disney World trip, because once I know where we have reservations and where we need to be at a certain time on a certain day, I can plan our park days around that. So if you're staying on property, 60 days out from your vacation is when you can book your advanced dining reservations. And if you're staying on property, again, you can book them for your entire vacation. If you're staying off-site, then you still can book your reservations 60 days out, but it's 60 days out for each day, and you can't necessarily book it for your entire vacation. So that's definitely a perk of staying on property. Booking starts at 6 a.m., so I will just set my alarm, get up at 6 a.m., book those things. But before we do that, we've got to figure out where we want to eat. So I think I said one of the nice things about having the kids kind of involved in the planning is being able to ask them where they want to eat. And both of them immediately had a couple of restaurants that they were very excited to get back to, and decided that they were, must do's. And we have experienced a handful of the restaurants in Disney World, but honestly we haven't even like scratched the surface. There are so many options, but we already have a good list of our favorites and our skips and our we really want to do this next time. So I thought I'd maybe start with that, just in case you're planning your Disney vacation and you're looking at this list of restaurants and places to eat and getting very overwhelmed, which is completely understandable. So Disney World has 3 types of dining options. There's table service, where it's a sit-down meal. You usually have to make reservations. And table service is where you're going to find your character meals and your more upscale meals, and your nicer dining experiences. Quick service is exactly that. It's you order ahead in the app. I highly recommend. It's very easy. But you order at like basically a counter. They give you your food. You go find a seat and you eat it. And then snacks, I think, is maybe the third category that I would put on there. And those are more like little kiosks, which again, you walk up, you order your food, and you sit down and eat it elsewhere. I typically only book 1 table service meal per day. And that's because 1, they can get pretty pricey, and 2, they can get time consuming. They take up your time. And as we've already talked about, in Disney World, it feels very much like time is money. So you don't necessarily want to spend your entire time in Disney at these table service meals for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So that's where I start. I usually do 1 table service meal per day. As for the quick service and snacks, you don't have to make reservations for those. So I just like to make a list and keep track of like any new things that we want to try or anything that we like want to make sure that we hit this time because it was so good last time, or anything that the kids really want to do. Okay, so on our list of must-dos, we're starting with Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace is probably one of my favorite places. Crystal Palace might be my favorite place to eat in Disney World. It's in Magic Kingdom, and it's buffet style. We typically go for breakfast because they just have a really good breakfast buffet, including the famous Mickey churro waffles. which are very good. But they also have so many other options on the buffet. There's like cheesy eggs and these potato things and all sorts of pastries and bagels and breakfast meats. And I mean, we love breakfast in our family, so it's utopia. And at the Crystal Palace, you have Winnie the Pooh and some of his friends walking around to the tables to say hello. And it's just like a really cute character experience. The thing about character experiences is that, like, obviously they're people, right? These characters are people. And so some of them are really good at what they do, and some of them are pretty good at what they do. And sometimes someone's having a really great day, and someone's having, like, maybe not the best day. But I'll tell you what, at Crystal Palace, I've always had such a great experience with all of the characters. And it's just like a nice, cuddly, fun time. Like, it's just a really great way to kick off your day, especially if you're heading into Magic Kingdom that day. It's really lovely. And it's one of those things, this is a trick that I think a lot of people use. We don't necessarily use it because we're not necessarily like rope droppers or super, super early risers, but you can make a reservation at Crystal Palace for earlier than the park opens and then get into the park early, which is cool, I guess. And if you planned it perfectly, you could really be there like right as the park opens and finishing your breakfast and run over and get on a ride that you really want to get on. We always just kind of plan it for regular breakfast time. Next up on our list of must-dos is Chef Mickey's. We have done Chef Mickey's for breakfast and it's okay, but we prefer it for dinner. It's another buffet. They have so many different types of food. They have pastas, they have pizzas, they have steaks, they have fish, they have mac and cheese, they have chicken nuggets. They just have everything. So it's very like people pleasing to everyone in your party. And at Chef Mickey's, you've got, I think it's just the Fab Five walking around. So it's like Mickey, Minnie, Pluto, Donald, Goofy. I'll double check, but I think it's just those main guys walking around to the tables. It's really fun. It's a good time. The atmosphere is always like bustly and loud and fun. It's very kid friendly. And the food is really good. They have a really good dessert spread too. So I think we prefer Chef Mickey's for dinner, but even for breakfast, it's nice too. Okay, next up is Beaches and Cream. And Beaches and Cream is actually at like Yacht Club Beach Club, which is a resort right next to Epcot. So if you're having an Epcot day and you need a place to go grab lunch, it's a good place to head over to. It's very like diner food, burgers and chicken tenders. It's basic food, but it's really good. And the thing that they're actually known for is the ice cream. They have really, really indulgent sundaes, like with a whole brownie or a whole cupcake on top of it. It's really delicious and a really yummy treat. And they do something called the kitchen sink, which is, I think it's like, it's one of those big things that you order for your table. I think they suggest it for at least 4 people, maybe 5 people. And it's a bunch of ice cream and I think every topping that they have in the place and a whole can of whipped cream. A whole can? That's a thing they do in Beaches and Cream. But again, a really fun atmosphere, very like kid friendly and really, really good, yummy ice cream treats. Next up for me is a restaurant in Animal Kingdom called Tusker House. It is another character dining situation. But the food there is so, so, so good. So it's another character meal. You get to meet Mickey and Donald and other friends all dressed up in their safari gear. It's in the Africa section of Animal Kingdom. So it's African inspired buffet style food. It's all so, so yummy again. And it's really fun to see the characters in their different outfits. I feel like every time I've seen Daisy at Tusker House, she's been like at her sassiest, which is kind of the best way to meet Daisy, I think. But it's really yummy. It's a good atmosphere. And it's not like, it is kid friendly, but it's also like maybe slightly more adventurous. So that's nice if you're trying to push everyone out of their comfort zones a little bit while they're there. But yeah, we really, really like Tusker House. And the last place that's kind of turned into a must-do for us is Hoop-de-Doo Review. So if you haven't heard of Hoop-de-Doo Review, it's over at Fort Wilderness Resort, which is the very like campground themed resort. You can actually like camp there, like have RVs there. They also have cabins, but that's the whole vibe of that place. So Hoop-de-Doo Review is a musical review dinner theater. The food is good. It's barbecue and served family style, and Mike and I really like it. Funnily enough, the girls, it's not their favorite, but they always request to go to Hoop-de-Doo Review because the show part of it is so fun. It's loud, it's rambunctious, it makes my theater kid heart so very happy. And it's just like a really fun thing. It does take up a fair amount of your time. You'll see here that I scheduled it in on a day that's kind of meant to be our more like chill day, which I'll explain in a minute. But yeah, it does take up a lot of time to get over there, but highly recommend it. It's super fun. Even if you think you're not like into like a dinner theater show, it's one of those moments where it's like, well, if you really lean into this kind of like silliness, goofiness, you're going to have an amazing time. So yeah, highly recommend Hoop-de-Doo Review. And now on to a quick list of skips for us. And here's the thing. Even if you go to one of these restaurants, you're still going to have a good time. You're still going to have a good meal. These are just ones that for us, we've done it once and I've kind of been like, I don't know that we need to revisit that. So the first one on that list is unfortunately Cinderella's Castle. I think so much of this too depends on the day and the time that you're hitting these character meals, because Cinderella's Castle is another character meal. So all the princesses, and including obviously Cinderella, it's a very cute theme thing. Everyone at the table gets a wishing star, and there's a whole little like kind of ceremony that they do where everyone makes a wish. It's very sweet and very fun. I think that potentially we were there on an off day or an off hour, or I don't know. There was something strange about our experience there. The way a lot of the restaurants work is you walk up, you check in, and there's a waiting area, and then you kind of get taken to the seating area, obviously. But at Cinderella's Castle, the kind of waiting area is the hall in the front, and you're supposed to meet Cinderella there before you go upstairs to your table. And I think Cinderella was just on a break. So like the time that we were in there, we didn't get to meet Cinderella at Cinderella's Castle, which is kind of a bummer. And obviously I understand that the performers need to take breaks and take rests and all that stuff. But it was just strange to me that, because usually Disney is so good about that. When you do these character meals, they send the characters over to your table. You know, all the characters usually have handlers, and they send the characters over to your table. And that has never happened before where we've like missed out on someone. Even if we were like, you know, up getting food and we missed a character coming by our table, they always circle back. Like they're very good about that. So the fact that we didn't get to meet Cinderella in Cinderella's Castle was like a little bit strange. I mean, and in the end, doesn't super matter. Like neither one of my kiddos are like super Cinderella fans, but it just felt a little bit strange. You know what I mean? Cinderella's Castle was very crowded. It was very loud, and in that kind of like loud, chaotic way, not in the just like loud at Disney World, everyone's having fun. Like it just felt way more chaotic in there. And the food was not my favorite. And it was one of those places. So in Disney World, in case you didn't know, when you're 10, you're considered an adult. And that mostly applies to like dining plan things. So, you know, there's the kids menu and the adults menu. And Ella, I think at that time was 10. And you know, there was just nothing on the adult menu that she wanted. And I wouldn't even say my kids are super picky eaters, but I don't know. And even like what we got was just kind of okay. And it was very expensive because it's a big character meet and greet kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. I hate to badmouth it because it's, you know, it's Cinderella's Castle. And I know a lot of people love going there. But I think just the vibe was not right for us. And we maybe like hit it on kind of an off day. But I don't think we would go back to Cinderella's Castle. The same holds true for... I think it's the Beast's Castle. What is it? Hold on. Let me look up what it actually is called. Okay, it's called Be Our Guest, but it's meant to be in the Beast from Beauty and the Beast castle. Now, the look of this place is incredible, right? Like it's gorgeous. It's so well themed inside. There's different rooms that are like themed to different things. Like you've got the West Wing where there's like a rose in the middle of it and it's like rainy and the windows like it's the theming is impeccable at this place. But again, it was chaotically crowded. The food was just okay. It was very expensive. And we didn't there weren't any characters there and I have trouble figuring out what the deal with it. I know that it's like the Beast walks around at some point, I think, but that's only dinner or only breakfast. I can't remember which. Anyway, if you're looking to go to Be Our Guest, make sure that you check in about that and you know, if meeting the Beast is like a big deal for you, you definitely want to check in about how that all works because I'm still unsure about how it all works. But anyway, the point is, again, I think we may have gotten there on an off day and the food was just okay and it was very expensive. And I don't see us going back. This next one is going to make some people upset, I think. So I'm just going to say one more time that this is a list of skips for us. And it doesn't mean that we hate these restaurants or that you shouldn't try them if you heard really good things. This is just for us. But the next one on our list of skips is Ohana. I know. We have stayed at the Polynesian a few times now. We love the Polynesian. It's probably our favorite resort to stay at as a family. And we've done Ohana twice. I think we did it for dinner one time, and then we did it for breakfast this last time. And honestly, I think that like I remember feeling really rushed and really like not like welcomed in. Like I think our server was actually a little bit rude. And our food was not very good. And I don't know. I think the only thing that saved it was the characters coming around. The characters who were coming around did such a good job. And my littlest one at the time really loved it and was very excited to see all these characters, even though she didn't really know who they were. But yeah, I think it was just, I don't know. And we just didn't really like the food. Like, I think a lot of people think the food is really, really good. And we were kind of like, oh, and this was the other thing. So there are a bunch of restaurants in Disney where, because of where they are, you can see the like night shows that happen at Disney World from the restaurant. So it's like fun to book those when the fireworks are happening, so that you can see them from your table. And that's really fun. And Ohana is one of them. And, you know, obviously a lot of things have to work out for it to work out. But we had booked Ohana and I think we had gotten a table close to the windows, so we should have been able to see it. But this is very silly, but because it was so hot outside and they had the air conditioning on inside, the windows were fogged over, like had condensation on them. I'm not saying that that is the restaurant's fault in any way, shape, or form. Obviously, that's weather, but it was just one of those things where it was like, oh, we didn't consider that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, this is like kind of one of the big reasons why you would go to Ohana for dinner. And then it was just like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't work. So yeah, so it's just, again, a bummer experience. And we don't really love the food. And I don't know. It didn't work out. So sorry, Ohana. All right. Next is another restaurant in Animal Kingdom. It's kind of the, not opposite, but like comparable to Tusker House. But the one that we would skip is Yak and Yeti. Yak and Yeti is fine. I think you have to really like Americanized Chinese food to go there, which I do. We do like Chinese food, but, I don't know. It's again, the food's just okay. It's very expensive. We had a very strange experience there the last time we went that I don't necessarily want to get into too much just because I don't know, but something was going on with our waiter the last time we went and it was a very strange experience. So if we're choosing between Tusker House or Yak and Yeti, we're definitely going Tusker House. Is all that is. Like, Yak and Yeti's fine, I guess, but we're probably not going to go there. Last on the list is going to be another controversial take, but I have a caveat to this one. So the next on the list is Topolino's Terrace. Now, we went for breakfast to do the characters in their artist outfits. I really loved the character interactions. I thought it was really fun. Their outfits were so cute. The girls loved meeting them. That was all really good. The food was like, again, not very good. Again, very expensive. Mike actively was like, no, whatever I got was disgusting. Like, he really, really didn't like it. I think it was the French toast. And he said it was just kind of like a goopy, soggy mess and was not good. So the caveat to this, though, is that I think that as a dinner restaurant with adults, Topolino's would be so, so nice and so lovely. I've seen nothing but amazing things, but we haven't been there for dinner. So there's that. Topolino's for breakfast, I don't know. I don't know if I would recommend, but maybe for dinner. Okay, my next list is not this time. So this is just a list of restaurants that we either haven't been to but really want to get to, or that we have been to and loved, but they just didn't make the cut for this round. First on the list is Sanaa, and that is at the Animal Kingdom Lodge, I think. Again, African-inspired food. It just, everyone who goes there and vlogs about it, I'm like, that food looks incredible. There's a bread service that they have where it's just like different kinds of breads and dips and stuff, and that is so up my alley. So it all just looks like amazing. I really, really want to get to Sanaa. But again, because it's at Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's kind of out of the way a little bit. So it just wasn't really in the cards for this trip, but I would love to stay at Animal Kingdom Lodge for some upcoming trip. So hopefully that happens when we get to Sanaa. Next is California Grill. And we have been here a bunch. And because for a little while, we would go to California Grill as our last night dinner. So California Grill, it's in the Contemporary, and it's definitely a little bit more upscale. It's still kid friendly because it is Disney World, but I would say that if you have a particularly antsy or rambunctious kid, it might not be the best place. Like, it's not a good place for like, oh, my kid needs to like wander around a lot. Does that make sense? But that being said, they do have a kids menu. So it's kid friendly in that way. They have really lovely cocktails, really good food. The food is always so, so, so good. And this is one of the places where you can see the Magic Kingdom fireworks from this restaurant. And it's high up in the Contemporary Tower. They also have a little like balcony where they pipe the music for the fireworks into the balcony, into the restaurant, and big windows. It's like really, really, it's so magical if you can time it right. And if you can't time it right, here's a tip. You can, I think, still like dine there earlier and then come back and view the fireworks from the balcony, which is really cool. Really, really like California Grill a lot. And it was always like nice. We'd always bring like a little like fancier dress. You don't have to do that, but like a little bit fancier dress, get dressed up and hat. It was a wonderful like way to close out our vacation. We have not been able to get there the past couple of trips. Mostly, you know, the last trip we had a baby, and this time we're going to have a 2-year-old. And so I don't know if it's like the perfect place to go, but hopefully in future trips, we'll start that tradition again. Next is Storybook Dining at Artist's Point, which is in Wilderness Lodge. So there's Fort Wilderness and there's Wilderness Lodge. So the Storybook Dining at Artist Point is at Wilderness Lodge, which is a gorgeous resort. Again, another bucket list place that we definitely want to stay at. And it's with Snow White. So Snow White's there. There's a couple of dwarves. I think it was Grumpy and Dopey. And the Evil Queen is there. And it's a really fun experience. Especially because I don't think there's not a lot of moments to interact with Snow White, like out in the parks. Or the Evil Queen. So this is a really fun moment to interact with them. The restaurant was beautifully themed. The food was like pretty good. It was a really, really good time. I would love to go back there. The girls really, really liked it. We got some really great pictures with Grumpy and the Evil Queen, and it was just like a really fun time. So I'd like to go back there. And then last on my not this time list is Disney Springs. So we have been to Disney Springs a couple of times. I think we ate at the Rainforest Cafe there once, which was, we knew what we were getting into at the Rainforest Cafe, so we weren't expecting like anything crazy. It was a neat experience. The kids liked it. It was very silly and whatever. I don't know that we need to go back a ton of times though. But Disney Springs has so many restaurants, and we just haven't been able to try any of them because we've only been to Disney Springs, I think, on like 2 of our trips. So we just haven't had the time to really like delve into all of the restaurants at Disney Springs. But they have so many options and so many of them look so good. And I would love to, one of these trips, like really have like a good solid Disney Springs day and just kind of like go shopping and eat some food and, test out some of the restaurants there because there's so many really, really good ones. All right, I have to stop recording because I have to go to dance class, but we're going to finish the rest of this later. Okay, guys, full disclosure, I just took a break from filming to go to dance class, and now I'm back. So if the lighting is different or I look a little sweaty, that's why. But let's keep talking about advanced dining reservations. So a huge resource for me when I'm planning what to eat in Disney World is called Disney Food Blog. They're great. They have a newsletter, they have a website, they do YouTube videos. That's where I originally found them. And they also have like food guides, and I'm talking they break it down for every resort, every park, every single place that you could eat at in Disney World. They have gone, they have tested the food out. They also even have like the festival guide. So every time there's a new festival in Epcot, they go and they try out all the food and they rate everything. And they're just a really, really great resource. Cannot recommend them enough, especially if you're just starting out and you kind of have no idea where to go to eat. They just do such a good job of really breaking everything down. And I tend to mostly agree with them as far as like their food opinions go. They also do, in their food guides, they do a really great thing that is super, super helpful, in that they rank the restaurants based on how hard it is to get a reservation. So let's talk through the actual getting the reservations part of it. So I have a worksheet that I use that I made for myself that just helps me organize all of my thoughts when it comes to the reservation. There's a section for writing down which places you really want to get to, and a spot to like just jot down like some notes about it, like cost or a specific food that I want to try at that restaurant. And then after I do all that and I kind of narrow stuff down, I make my list that I call my cheat sheet for the morning of the reservations. Because like I said, you are waking up at 6 a.m. to make these reservations, and I'm usually pretty groggy. And so I like to have everything written down for me and all set up and ready to go. So on this list, I include the name of the restaurant, the date that I want to make the reservation for, and then the time that I want to make the reservation for. Now, this is a pretty good tip. If you can be flexible about exactly what time you want your reservation for, that's going to be better off for you. So usually I'll just write down dinner or lunch or breakfast, just like a general idea. But even from that, especially if you're going to Disney World at a particularly busy time, if you can be flexible about what breakfast means to you and what lunchtime means to you, then you're more likely to get kind of some of these tougher reservations. So I have that list. I make the list based on a combination of how hard it is to get that reservation, and 2, how much do we want to eat at that place? So when you're booking these reservations the morning of, you might think, oh, I'll just go day by day of my vacation and book it in timeline order. And I actually, and a lot of people actually suggest that you don't do that and you book it in by order of hardest to get reservation, and I say reservation that you most want. So for example, on my list, I'm looking at my list right here, my notes right here. So for example, I have both Tusker House and Chef Mickey's on my list, and I know that Chef Mickey's is going to be the tougher reservation to get, so it's higher up on the list than Tusker House. So here's what we have broken down our list to for this vacation. We are arriving in Disney World on a Thursday and leaving on a Tuesday. So that gives us pretty much 5 days in the parks. And you'll notice on my list that there are actually 6 restaurants listed, even though I said the thing about only doing one table service restaurant per day. And I still stick to that and think that that is important. But the girls mentioned that they really wanted to go to Hoop Dee Review again. So I had to kind of squeeze that in on our chiller day. But when I'm planning a Disney vacation that is more than 4 days typically, I like to try to build in a resort day, a rest day, a chill day. Disney World is so much fun, but if you are going for a longer time, then it's very easy to get burnt out between all of the things that there are to do and the heat and the sun. And being on your feet, especially if you're not used to walking a lot, it can be really tiring. So it's always good to build in a day where you're kind of taking it a little bit more easy. So that is what I'm hoping to book Hoop Dee Review for, because like I said, it's a little bit further away. It takes a little bit more time, just all told. And so as long as I'm planning it for a day when we're kind of meant to be chilling and not doing that much, I think that'll work out pretty well. So yeah, I set up my cheat sheet, and then the things that you are going to need the morning that you book your advanced dining reservations are your cheat sheet. So I cannot recommend enough writing down in order what you want to book. You want to make sure that you have the My Disney Experience account all set up, and that includes linking your credit card. And then when I go to sleep, I'll have my laptop ready, my list ready, just everything set up, ready to go. Now, I think I mentioned we really like to go when there are lower predicted crowds, even if that means going in the hottest time of the year in August. And we're not doing that this time, but we are still going at a lower crowd moment. So I think it'll be okay. I also have booked for vacations that have a higher predicted crowd count, and those are the ones that get a little bit tricky, where you get on at 6 a.m. and you're trying to book what you want, and there is either limited availability or no availability. So, okay, you prepare all of this, you have your list in order of hard to get reservations and reservations you most want. You're super prepared, you get up in the morning and you get almost every reservation, but you're missing one or two. Don't panic and don't lose hope. You can continue checking reservations up to and during your trip, because reservations will open up. People's plans change. They cancel them at the last minute. So it's always a good idea to keep an eye on those reservations and see if you can book one a little bit more last minute. I have also used a service, I think it's called Mouse Dining, and basically you sign up for it. I think there are tiers to it, so there's a paid version and a non-paid version, and essentially what you do is you sign up and you pick the restaurant and the date and the time that you're looking for, and they will keep an eye on the reservations, and when something opens up, they'll email you or text you, whatever you choose, and then you can click and try and grab that reservation. I have definitely had vacations that were booked during more busier times and not gotten all the reservations at the 60 days out, and literally the week we were there, I wound up getting all of those reservations because I had signed up for this service. It is a little frustrating because you do have to keep an eye on your phone and jump in there really quickly, because there were a couple of them that would come up and I would miss it and see the text later or whatever. But the point is, if you don't get every reservation that you want at that 60-day out mark, don't lose hope. You can keep checking. A lot of people cancel plans, change plans, switch stuff up, and reservations will for sure open. So just keep an eye on it. So yeah, like I said, our 60 days out are coming up in just a few days here, and I am almost all set and prepared. I have my list. I need to go through and refine and just make sure that I have the dates and the times exactly as I want them. I'm going to double check with the kiddos and make sure that there aren't any restaurants that aren't on the list that they're well, we have to go here. Yeah, and then also keep in mind the thing I said about the best way to do a Disney trip is to plan, and then let it go. A lot of the restaurants have cancellation policies. I want to say that it's 2 hours before, without a fee, but if you cancel after that, then there is a fee. So you definitely want to keep an eye on that if you decide to change your plans or switch it up. and make sure that you're not in that window where they're going to have to charge you a fee. But other than that, like, you can switch it up. You can decide you're not in the mood for that and try and go somewhere else. I know that for me, when I was planning our first couple of reservations, it felt overwhelming and it felt like, oh, if I don't get these reservations, I'm never going to get them and all will be lost. But it's just not true. There's ways around it. There's ways to get the good reservations. There's ways to change up your plans if you really want to. So I am, like I said, almost ready to go here, and we're coming up on those booking days. And I will show you exactly what the booking day looks like. Okay, a few things. The lighting is actually atrocious. I am on the tail end of a pretty bad eye swelling flare up moment. Because we're still working on those hives, people. But I'm all ready for bed. Did my skincare, brushed my teeth. I even have my retainer in, so I probably sound a little funny. I'm gonna probably stare at TikTok for a little bit and then read my book and then go to bed because I have to get up at like 5, probably just like 5:50, 5:55, honestly, because tomorrow is 60 days out from our Disney vacation, which means it's time to book those dining reservations. I've got my iPad and my laptop up here. I'm going to get them all ready to go for tomorrow, which means just having the Disney World app open on a tab on my computer and on my iPad. And I'm going to put them on a chair right next to my bed so that at 6 o'clock I can just wake up and fumble my way through booking these dining reservations. So wish me luck, and I'll see you in like 6 hours. Okay, my alarm went off, and as predicted, I was still very sleepy. It just so happened to be daylight savings, so what was 6 a.m. felt like 5 a.m. Oof. But thanks to past Liza for literally already having everything that I needed set up and ready to go. I always have at least 2 ways of accessing the Disney website. So in this case, it's my computer and my phone, because sometimes one or the other can be kind of glitchy and just like not working that day. This morning it was the computer, so I ended up making all of the reservations on my phone. I also have my iPad with my handy cheat sheet pulled up. So here's what it looks like in the My Disney Experience app. I just head straight to the search icon on the bottom of that first screen that pops up, and I type in the restaurant that I want to make the reservation for and click on either check availability or reserve dining. And then on the next screen, it's going to ask you to fill in your party size and a date range, and you can pick between 1 and 10 days to look at availability for, which can be super helpful if you're flexible with your date or you haven't solidified your plans yet. Okay, and then once you pick your date, it will come up with the available times. I'm booking Hoop-Dee-Doo Review here. So it's a little bit different just in that they only do dinner. So only one set of times shows up. But for other restaurants, it will divide the available times by meal. So breakfast, lunch, and dinner. With Hoop-Dee-Doo, you then have to select the seating that you want because they have 3 different tiers of seating. Other restaurants don't have that option. Although if you have a preference, you can totally request that on the day when you check in for your reservation. Like if you want to sit by the window or in a booth or whatever it is. Since Hoop-Dee-Doo is a prefix meal, you have to specify your party mix. And yes, unfortunately, 10 is considered an adult in Disney, at least for meals. So you put in the ages of all the people who are in your party, and then you can select add-ons like a celebration cake or any dietary or accessibility requests. And then you'll see the overview page. So make sure you take a look at that and check that everything is exactly how you want it. On this page, you'll need to put in a contact phone number and your credit card. Again, because Hoop-Dee-Doo is a prefix meal, they charge you for the meal at the time of booking. Most of the restaurants just hold the card in case they need to charge a no-show fee or cancellation fee or anything like that. But hot tip, even if you have the card saved in your account, which I highly, highly recommend as part of your setup time, make sure you also have the card on hand or you have your security code memorized, because otherwise you'll have to hop out of bed and run downstairs in the dark to go get it. But after you put that in and click confirm, you should be all set. From here, you can navigate back to that search page to search up your next reservation. Or if you're done, you can check all the details of your reservations in the itinerary and plan section of the app. And congratulations, you did it. You booked your dining reservations. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this video was helpful. I feel like when I was first figuring out Disney, I kind of cobbled together a bunch of different videos and played around in the apps to figure some things out. So I tried really hard to make this video as, concise and helpful as possible, which is why it is so very long. So thank you for sticking around, especially if you got this far. I hope you're having an amazing day, and I'll talk to you soon. So it's African inspired. All right, my next, oh gosh, which just means, so this is just, right. And if you can't time it right, here's a tip. Hello. So